Somewhere beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, legend says, lies a civilization more advanced than anything the ancient world had ever seen. Golden temples, rings of water and land, an empire so powerful it tried to conquer the known world, and vanished in a single night. This is the story of Atlantis, and whether it's history, myth, or something in between, it's a mystery that has haunted humanity for over 2,000 years. Here's something most people don't know. Atlantis isn't an ancient legend passed down by sailors or priests. It comes from one man, the Greek philosopher Plato. Around 360 BCE, Plato wrote about Atlantis in two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. And here's the strange part. Before Plato wrote about it, Atlantis appears nowhere. Not in Greek mythology, not in any historical record. Nothing. That's why many scholars believe Plato may have simply invented the story. But others aren't so sure. So let's dig into what he actually wrote. According to Plato, Egyptian priests told an Athenian statesman named Solon about a mighty civilization that existed 9,000 years before his time. An island beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. This island, Plato claimed, was larger than Libya and Asia combined. Now here's where the story gets incredible. Plato says Atlantis was ruled first by Poseidon, the god of the sea, who fell in love with a mortal woman named Plato. To protect her, he carved the land around her home into rings, alternating bands of water and land, like a bullseye from above. Poseidon and Plato had 10 sons. He split the island into 10 kingdoms, one for each. The eldest, Atlas, became the first king and gave his name to both Atlantis and the Atlantic Ocean. At the very center of the city stood a temple to Poseidon, covered in silver and gold, its roof lined with ivory, its walls plated with a mysterious red metal called orichalcum. Ancient sources say it was second in value only to gold itself. Bridges connected the rings. Tunnels let ships sail straight into the heart of the city. Beyond the walls stretched a massive fertile plain, crossed with irrigation canals, protected from harsh winds by surrounding mountains. And the numbers Plato gives are staggering: a navy of 1,200 ships, an army numbering in the hundreds of thousands. Elephants roamed the land. The wealth was almost unimaginable. This wasn't just a city, it was, by ancient standards, a superpower. But every great empire, according to legend, carries the seeds of its own destruction. In the beginning, the Atlanteans were virtuous, wise. They valued justice over gold, even while sitting on mountains of it. But generation after generation, their divine bloodline, their connection to Poseidon, grew thinner through mixing with mortals. And as the divine faded, human nature took over: greed, ambition, the hunger for power. Eventually, Atlantis set its sights on conquest, sweeping across the Mediterranean, aiming straight for Athens and Egypt. And according to Plato, it was tiny Athens, outnumbered, outmatched, that led the resistance and turned the invaders back. But the gods were not finished. As punishment for Atlantis's arrogance, in a single day and night of catastrophe, the entire island sank beneath the ocean. Gone. Not even a ruin left behind, just a shoal of mud too dangerous to sail through. An empire that ruled the known world, erased in one night. Here's the twist most people miss. Plato wasn't writing history, he was writing philosophy. Timaeus and Critias are philosophical dialogues, and Atlantis was Plato's way of illustrating an idea he'd already explored in his most famous work, The Republic. What does the ideal, just society, actually look like? Athens represents virtue, a smaller, humbler society that wins because of its values. Atlantis represents what happens when unlimited power meets moral decay. Even a civilization with every advantage can fall. And there's one more clue. Plato's Critias is unfinished. It cuts off mid-sentence, right as Zeus is about to deliver his judgment on Atlantis. Did Plato mean to leave it there? Did he simply never finish it? We'll never know. So, is there any truth buried underneath the myth? For centuries, people have searched. The leading scientific theory points to Thera, modern-day Santorini, and a massive volcanic eruption around 1600 BCE that devastated the advanced Minoan civilization on Crete. Some historians believe garbled memories of this real disaster, passed down over centuries, could have eventually reached Egyptian priests and inspired Plato's story. Other theories point to the Azores, the Canary Islands, Cyprus, Sardinia, Malta, even the Bermuda Triangle or Antarctica. None of these have any solid archaeological backing. And here's the problem most fringe theories run into. Plato's own numbers don't add up. If Atlantis fell 9,000 years before Solon's time, that places its destruction around 9600 BCE, thousands of years before any known advanced civilization existed. No geological or archaeological evidence has ever shown a landmass in the Atlantic that could have sunk within human memory. Most historians agree Atlantis was never meant to be found, because it was never meant to be real. But that hasn't stopped Atlantis from taking on a life of its own. In 1626, Francis Bacon wrote New Atlantis, reimagining it as a scientific utopia. In 1882, Ignatius Donnelly's book Atlantis, the antediluvian world claimed Atlantis was the true origin of human civilization, a theory now widely discredited, but one that shaped popular imagination for generations. Since then, Atlantis has appeared in countless films, games, and novels, a symbol of lost knowledge, advanced technology, and civilizations swallowed by the sea. So what is Atlantis, really? A philosophical warning about the dangers of unchecked power, a distorted memory of a real catastrophe, or simply one of the greatest stories ever told? Maybe the truth doesn't matter as much as the reason the story has survived for over 2,000 years. Atlantis reminds us that no empire, no matter how powerful, is guaranteed to last forever. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries, hit subscribe for more deep dives into legends, lost civilizations, and the mysteries history left behind.